Hey everybody, welcome to this month's question of the month. You can always go and submit your own question, and I'll try to answer it here on video. Go to yoganatomy.com/myquestion, and we'll try to answer it for you. So this month's question comes from Jonathan Ferrucci. How can we avoid overworking the upper trapezius in the Ashtanga method? I try to activate the arms and shoulders as much as possible by pressing through the hands, index knuckle, etc., but it seems to me that all the jump throughs and jump backs, especially the latter, seem to inevitably put some strain on the upper trapezius and in the long run create some imbalance in the upper body. Do you have any suggestions? That's a good question. Couple of things here. One is always keep in mind that the trapezius is a very complex muscle. It literally does opposite actions of itself, spans quite a large area. The lower half pulling the scapulas down, the upper part pulling them up. There's all of that. But I think the bigger piece is that, as we all know, most people hold stress in their upper trapezius, and they're more superficial muscles, so they have this tendency to be developed and in a pattern that causes them to contract first or be part of a pattern from the beginning. So what you want to pay attention to is whether or not the trapezius is activating as part of a habitual pattern. For me, I always bring it back, and there's actually a couple more questions here I'm going to answer that are related to serratus anterior. And if you go to my site, you can click the search bar, type in serratus anterior, and you'll find a few articles there, including a whole segment or a whole series of articles I wrote on sun salutations, of which a few of them very specifically talk about serratus and developing it throughout a process. So, yes, I'm sure you're pushing through your arms. I have no doubt. There's no way you could jump forward, jump back, and do all of that without pressing through your hands. The question is what's being activated first. So it's not that you don't want to use trapezius or that trapezius isn't going to contract. A lot of times what we need to do is retrain things so that in other words, we retrain it in a way that the muscle that we want to be predominant starts to be more primary rather than secondary. Like, I'm sure you already are using your serratus, but it's not the primary mover in this particular movement. So when you press into your hands, you have to press in a way that activates that armpit. Okay? So that's my suggestion for you. Maybe reevaluate, pay closer attention to how, like a little bit more nuance, a little more detail of what's firing first. If you're letting your elbows go out and your arms go out this way, there's a good chance that's going to cause trapezius to fire before serratus. Keeping the elbows and the arms tucked in a little bit more is going to help that serratus go. So, hope that answered your question. Anybody else? Again, you got a question? Go to yoganatomy.com/myquestion.